Hi, everyone. Welcome to the sunny side of San Diego. My name is Vinnie, co-host over here.
Carini.
There we go. This is the first time we're actually doing a visual podcast. I still actually have to release the last two that we did, so that's going to be coming out fairly soon. So if you're watching this live, then the last ones, if you're listening to the podcast, it's all in order. This one could be a little winky wonky, so just be aware of kind of how everything sits. If you're listening to us on the podcast, look for our YouTube channel, Sunny Side of San Diego with Vinnie Carini, and subscribe, follow, and join us live, comment, and be a part of the show.
I woke up this morning and I realized that we were going to be live and that it was going to be broadcasted. So I thought, you know what? You don't have enough time to do your hair to make yourself look presentable. Throw on a hat, throw on a hoodie. It's still too early for me. You're a morning person. You get up really early, but I'm still getting back into the rhythm with the pandemic. See, everything's throwing me off.
Yeah, no, I woke up this morning at 4:30, laid in bed for about 20 minutes, and then got a good workout in, and then ate some breakfast and ready to go. Talking about doing your hair though, oh my gosh, man, I haven't got a haircut for a while, and I know there's bigger things to worry about with everything going on, and oh my gosh, it's gonna be nice to get a haircut after. I think there is some places that might have the barbershop still open, but I gotta look at that. Well, diving into that though, small businesses, right? How this is all affecting small businesses. I mean, we both run small businesses, and I mean, let's talk about you for your art. I know it's been actually positive for you in selling your pieces more recently, right?
In some ways, definitely. I had a very slow month this month so far. I was kind of trying to dive into that, figure out why. I think that diving further into the pandemic and the shutdowns again may have had an impact. But the truth is that as a self-starter and a business owner, I know that there are always people out there with resources looking to use them. So I just have to find creative solutions to make it work. I know some people are out there are looking to buy things, art, spend money. And when things are slow, I just have to shift how I do things. But overall, yeah, I've been able to build a platform, I think, that was very suitable for these types of times. I am a home-based business, so that made it pretty easy. I didn't have to shut down a business in the way that other people did. People that are paying massive amounts of rent. I can't even imagine how much impact that would have.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder. I mean, you're seeing a lot of, I think, bigger businesses close, but I wonder if it's going to push us to go a little smaller. I mean, maximize the spaces we have. I mean, and less like to-go businesses, less, on the move businesses, especially for restaurants and things like that.
Well, what I'm seeing, or at least what I am perceiving, is that big companies like Walmart and Target and Amazon are doing massive amounts of business, going way, way up. The other thing is that when it comes to acquiring loans, these big companies, these corporate companies, have people that are hired that specialize in going after those types of things, people that know how to do that type of stuff. When it comes to a small business, a mom and pop shop, there may not be somebody between the two of them that knows how to go after those things. And I know I talked to somebody at the farmer's market, and he said that he's been in business for 50 years running a pastry company, and they owe hundreds of thousands of dollars because of this pandemic. They have lost that much money, and they've been denied requests for getting funds, getting assistance. Meanwhile, these big companies are flourishing right now.
Yeah, I know it's not necessarily small businesses. I mean, being that I'm in the real estate field, I mean, I have people that are, I mean, buying properties, selling properties, landlords, things like that. One thing I just saw the other day, actually yesterday, was an article saying that the moratorium on kind of holding off evictions might be postponed for all of next year. So basically, landlords that maybe aren't getting their rent can evict the tenants that aren't paying, possibly for all of next year. So we mean, I know I actually have one client that was in the process of evicting someone because they weren't paying before the pandemic started. And they told me that they were, I think, 2 days before the actual eviction proceedings to actually go forward with it. Yet this whole thing happened, and so they got postponed. And so now they've been in a holding pattern for this whole year. And so if this comes to pass, they're kind of screwed even longer of not getting, just paying out of pocket.
So the interesting thing about that, though, is that, yeah, it defers it, but all it's doing is deferring it. So if somebody, say, had a career and their career is now obsolete, because there are certain careers and jobs that are now obsolete. There are businesses that, what then? So yeah, it pushes it off. It gives them a little more time, but if the scenario doesn't change, it really doesn't change much for them. But I do want to ask, what is the market right now?
Well, going back to that, you're kicking the, how it says shit goes downhill, right?
Yeah.
So, the tenants living there rent free, and we don't know if they don't have a job or they do have a job, or they're making money or not making money. But if they are making money, then they at least have the ability to put money in their pocket. If the landlord's not getting paid, then they're paying. They have to pay out of pocket to pay the mortgage still, unless they're able to get some kind of forbearance or forgiveness on the taxes, right? If they can't do that, well, then they're basically shit out of luck.
Yeah.
So it's, that's kind of the big thing. And then talking about the market's one of those things right now that people have been scared to let people into their house because of COVID. So what does that do, right? It basically has less inventory on the market, right? Still the same level of demand because rates went down, right? So people are like, well, I'll still buy. It's a good time for me to buy. So what happens? Less supply, same amount of demand. It starts getting crazy. People will be bidding wars. So the market's actually jumped on average from like 580 to like 800,000. Now average, you talk about the outliers, higher properties, things like that. So it's one of those things that it's the opposite of what I thought would happen, where it's actually made the market crazier.
And what I thought would happen for this, and first, a little levity to the situation. I'm curious if realtors are starting to post photos now with them wearing masks on their billboards and all their marketing campaigns. Are any doing that? I think it'd be cool if they did.
Well, there's some people. There's some people that are. Of course, we're doing the mask thing. You got to be careful any kind of picture you take. But there's some people that are fighting, saying they don't want to wear a mask. And there's, I don't know. There's. I find it interesting how such a pushback on the mask. And we talked about this. If you didn't listen to our previous episode, we kind of talked about it with the mask and running with mask on, not running with mask on. It seemed like we're both okay on board with basically wearing a mask when you go into a store, right? As long as the owners, of course, requiring it. For me, I'm on board with doing it all the time. But there's a fight of when to wear a mask and when not to wear a mask. I see.
Yeah. So my perception of the real estate market, or my forecast of what I thought would happen, though, would be that there would be people that would be buying up stuff. But what I thought would happen would be people that are affluent, people that have a lot of resources, people that had enough to survive a significant period of time like this would be in an advantageous position and have the opportunity to be able to capitalize on the misfortune of others, people that were forced to sell, people that would be moving into a position of selling. And so a greater disparity in the distribution of wealth. So the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and a greater divide in that regard.
It hasn't happened yet. That's what I thought would happen, where people would have to sell out of need and not having money and things like that. Yet it's been the opposite, where postponement, forbearances, moratorium on evictions, things like that. Like it's put on hold. So that need to sell hasn't really been there, and the market has just driven upwards. So it's logically it's the opposite of what you thought. But once you actually put the pieces together and see what's happening, you go, okay, that makes sense now.
I think that might come around, though, as you're saying, though, once we come to that period where that comes into play, because I said that all along, that, okay, you delay an eviction for somebody that doesn't have the resources, that isn't working, that lost their career, that lost all their savings, has had to spend all their savings during this period. What it does is it says, okay, people aren't being put on the streets right now. People are surviving the pandemic. But no, you have to look at the period of time after we extend beyond these forbearances and all of these things. So that's when we'll really know. That's when we'll really see the greater impact, I think, of this. And it's a scary thought to hear small businesses talk about losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, closing up for good. And then here in San Diego, and I know in some other states, but here in San Diego, we've had this roller coaster of, hey, things are opening. Hey, things are closing. Hey, things are opening. And even when they open, it's, hey, you can open, but you can only open at 20 or 25% capacity. How many small businesses were able to succeed and profit at 100% capacity, let alone 25% capacity? Because you're not having to pay 25% of your rent. Your rent's still the same.
Yeah, I mean, even like mid-size, like Fuddruckers, right? They're shutting their doors. I don't know if it's just a San Diego business, but I mean, they had a couple locations, and I'm pretty sure they're shutting their doors because they can't deal with this. Some other kind of medium-sized businesses, you got to think that you've had the ability to open up a bunch of stores, and over a year period of time, you're basically have to shut all your doors. Everything that you accomplished. I mean, that has to be a difficult scenario. And I mean, we all have our own burdens to carry, and kind of are kind of working through it. And it's just, some are bigger than others, but for everyone, it still feels really big. And it's going to be who's going to kind of be able to fight through this, who's going to be able to learn from this, who's going to be able to adapt from this, who's going to get stronger. And I mean, hopefully some of these small businesses that have been affected are finding ways to maybe cut down their output. And so when the businesses do open fully again, maybe they're going to have higher profitability. I mean, hopefully.
Do you think they will open at full capacity again at some point, or do you think that this is just the way it's going to be moving forward to some extent?
I mean, I think for as a whole, I mean, we have a short memory. I mean, I think people as a whole have a short memory. So, I mean, there's going to be the opening up of it. There'll be some people that might just start wearing masks, I mean, consistently, because they're afraid of it. Yet, what, a month? I mean, not a month, maybe 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years, we'll get back to some kind of normal level, I would think. And once we get back to that normal level, the businesses that can stay at the same kind of tight restraints, I think are going to have better profitability when they open back up to full capacity and open up. I mean, so it's going to be, if you can ride the storm, you'll probably be in a better place later on, I would think.
When did this all officially start? I'm trying to recall. Was it March? Was it beginning of March, or was it February?
Yeah, beginning of March.
So we're already basically 9 months into this. And what I've seen be the major source of frustration here in San Diego is these businesses that open and then they close, or we have a week where statistics indicate one thing, and who knows if the statistics that we see are actually accurate. I'm not going to confirm or deny, but I think it is important to question, hey, where is this information coming from? What are we basing this off of? But to have businesses based on the changing of a color code here in San Diego be forced to shut down on a whim almost and wait a certain period of time to even know if they can reopen. And that's kind of where we are right now, as we fell back into a color code that was not acceptable. And when do they review our color code? I don't even know that. When are they going to review?
I don't know. I think it's a constantly going thing. I think because we got coded, we have a 3-week change, and then after that 3 weeks, they check it again or something like that.
Are we close to the end of the 3 weeks though?
No, I want to say it's like beginning of next month, January.
So the other interesting thing is, not to play devil's advocate, or maybe to play devil's advocate, that puts us straight through the holidays. So I'm not saying it is, but if there was somebody in power that wanted to, say, abuse their power and not allow people out for the holidays, look what's did. That kind of pushed it so that it put it right beyond the holidays, so that people couldn't go out, people couldn't celebrate, people couldn't do stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely some kind of possibility of things like that. It's just, I mean, we've had, I think we talked about this before. You have to kind of hope for the positive, and you can only focus on what you're doing, how you're adapting, and things like that. And I mean, if you want to take it to the next level, I mean, get into politics, and then try to fight it. But I mean, you put a hope in there that our system is not fully corrupt, that there's positives to it, there's good people there. I mean, the effects of what it does to us on a daily basis is huge. And I mean, we are all getting some kind of hit, some kind of burden, some kind of attack. I mean, not attack, but something by the government. It's a matter of, okay, well, how do you adapt to it? How do you prosper with it? And that's all you can really do. I mean, you focus on who you are, what you're doing.
Yeah, I think finding a way to work through it. And the truth is that someone's misfortune is always going to be somebody else's good fortune. And I know that in having some of the success that I had, particularly early on with this, that I sort of guilt, like survivor's guilt or remorse for the fact that I was doing well while other people were struggling. And then I had to realize you can still continue to help in the ways that you can, or to offer something positive to the world and show them that it is possible. But at the same time, I had to remind myself not to feel guilty about any prosperity that I may have had by putting in the work during this period. And to see some businesses, some small businesses doing well and surviving this period. But I definitely feel a lot of empathy for them and the struggles that they're having right now, trying to just keep their doors open, having to do so with limited capacity, and the added burdens that are going to be put on their shoulders as they continue to try to work through this for an undetermined period of time, because it seems like the circumstances of this are so up in the air and undetermined.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, if you're listening right now, stay positive, stay focused, focus on what you can actually accomplish and what you can do for yourself. There is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. There is going to be an end to this. Just whatever, I mean, the old saying, whatever doesn't kill you is going to make you stronger. So that's, I mean, the best piece of advice. That's what I tell myself. I mean, mentally, physically, have to kind of work through it. There is going to be something more.
And if you were somebody that had a position in a larger business and this has put you out of work or changed your schedule or inconvenienced you or burdened you, I think that it is an opportunity for people to move into a home-based business, to running your own business. I think it's a good time to evaluate what you're doing. And if things didn't work out for you, but you weren't doing something that you wanted to do, maybe that was the wake-up call to start moving in the direction of your dream, of what you really want to do, of what you really wanted to do, but put off because you thought that you had this security with another position or with a larger company, with the 401k, and maybe you had all that removed. So maybe this is your time, as crazy as it is, to move into the direction of going after that dream. Sometimes chaos is the best place to start over.
Yeah, man, I agree. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions or if you want to be part of this, again, subscribe, reach out. We want to be there for you. So please follow us, find our YouTube channel, and on to the next one, guys.
Yeah, and if you're a small business, I want to hear your feedback. So send us your feedback, comments, your questions, and we can address that in a future episode.
Sounds good. Bye, guys.